So, Death by Degrees was something, huh? But hey, we got a few more fighting game spin-offs to check out. So to keep things rolling, let's check out another Bandai Namco title. But first, this is Combat Overview. Here we go over the general controls, their main mechanics, who or what we use them on, and seeing how it all comes together. A bit more in depth, but that's what we do. So Soulcalibur Legends is a Wii exclusive released pretty much within the Wii's first year out. Can kinda guess where I'm going with this because any early game had to use the console's gimmick of motion controls in some sort of way. And yeah, they might have gone too far with this one. First things first, I'm actually surprised they carried over the Soulcalibur staple of horizontal and vertical strikes. It might be rough to control since we're using the Wii, but how bad can it be? So vertical strikes have further range, but will only hit in front of you. Horizontal attacks are a bit shorter, but covers the nearby area with some crowd control swings. We even have an upwards attack to do a launcher. Also, I noticed that swinging right will always swing right in game, and left always attacks left. Like these attacks actually line up to your controller's motions, if it works. Because if you haven't figured it out yet, you actually have to do the motions for each and every attack. But hey, there's even delay combos too. That's fun, right? We have the Stinger Poke Attack, which also has its own combo, which sends them flying. So all in all, not too bad, right? Our attacks are GG. We can launch them or send them away, which means our options actually affect enemies in specific ways. But it's so random if the right attack you want actually comes out. You can't rely on the waggle being one-to-one as a regular button input. So don't even bother honestly trying to do thought out plays.
It's useless.
Well, on to defenses. We have a new Kemi, not too bad. We can guard with Z, can move around a little, yeah. While guarding, swinging the nunchuck will have you do a guard impact, basically a counter. Doing this successfully stuns enemies, but not long enough to really get anything out of it. Can even guard impact environmental hazards, which is pretty cool and all. That it's a thing you can do, but you know, trying to time a perfect waggle with the nunchuck is kinda asking for a lot when it comes to this game. And it doesn't really play a part as a common tool either way, so also enemies kind of just stand around, and when they do finally attack, there's no tell with their animations, so just like Death by Degrees, beat them to the punch. And we actually have a quick sidestep by waggling the nunchuck. Sounds like it'll be a cool little spacing option, but again, waggles aren't the most reliable thing out there. Okay, so that's not all. So even though doing one of these waggle actions consistently is already wonky enough, but once they told me to mix the two after landing some sort of hit, nah, I was a goner. Nope, they lost me with that one. Yeah, it's cool, it'll cancel end lag, letting you quickly go from one combo to start one somewhere else, but it most likely won't work as you would hope. Honestly, I'll just look like a crazy person to even try. No way, I'm not gonna fall for it. The things I do for these videos. Looking at the HUD, blue is our health, and the green orbs underneath is the soul gauge. Landing basic attacks fills it, being hit fills it, and even landing soul charge attacks refills itself. To toss these out, just press C to soul charge your weapon, giving it a buff dealing more damage and usually adding a crowd control shockwave on all forms of attacks, the vertical, horizontal, and the poke. And once it's active, the buff will stick around for a good bit, letting you toss out a few powered up attacks, but each of those attacks will cost you. But again, those attacks will still regain meter spent if it's landed, and if you get hit, this will instantly knock you out of that buff state, but again, that'll just go towards refilling meter. So yeah, any sort of management with meter is very lenient. But if you notice, there's two bars. That's because we have a teammate to swap between on the fly. Don't expect tag team combos or anything like that, but still, we get a cool handful of characters to choose from, and even though this is a spin-off Soulcalibur Wii game, there's still a guest character. We get Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia. Not too bad of a pick. When it comes to enemies, we've got jobber skeletons, lizard soldiers who occasionally block, but just like everything else, mash waggle. Big old guys who either jump at you from the top rope or do the stun tackle. These rock monsters who do slam attacks, you gotta jump over that shockwave of theirs, or they're going to this counter stance, or lob boulders at you from afar. This one actually has some options to them, but we're playing an action game on the Wii, so.
Huh, this is dull.
Yeah, there's no real tips I can give here. Just smash waggle and use soul charge attacks on those tougher enemies. That's pretty much it. Bosses are so-so. where we go toe to toe with other characters. We even fight this dragon where you gotta jump over their sweeping fire, dodge their fireballs, or shoot these ballistics at them once they're in the right spot. Stuff like this is fun, but it's short-lived. And that's Soulcalibur Legends. On paper, there's some fun stuff here for action game fans, with them sidesteps, how it can cancel and lag, ways to affect enemy states, counters, and all that. For Soulcalibur fans, they get a good handful of characters to use in this new playstyle, plus the co-op mode for some double team plays. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. Kind of the game's main problem. They'll have something pretty neat, but then it stops themselves. Our attacks have precise hitboxes and ways to throw enemies around in specific ways, but it relies on Wii's motion control waggle. We have counters and sidestep cancels, but enemies are just stand-ins giving no real back and forth. We get new characters often enough to switch things up, but when you get this team together, you lose them all. Which locks your options to a select few. It's for story reasons, sure, but come on. And once you get everyone again for the second time, they lock your options on who you can play as. They basically force you to play the same early game multiple times with how much they start you from scratch. You want to know what makes this even more messed up? If you didn't use any of those characters to level them up by finding those sword XP items hidden in breakable objects, well, good luck. They're going to be underleveled for these little late game missions. Yeah, have fun with that. But hey, why would you even want to play those other characters? You'll just do the same attack anyways. No one unlocks any new moves, there's no new skills to get. It's just how it is from beginning to end. And the maps are repeated pretty much a third way into the game, so you're already seeing the same places on repeat. And you fight the same rehashed bosses, just now with limited characters on top of that. And yeah, using the same character on repeated stages, doing the same poke on brain dead enemies, just isn't a good time. I can see this be some decent dumb fun, honestly, if the controls were just normal. Holy, once it begins to physically hurt or give any sort of strain for playing it, well, not that worth it to play it.
I won't forget this pain.
So fans of Soulcalibur or action games, stay away from this. Even if you get some curious itch to try it out, just don't, please. It is not worth the hassle. Wait, my bad. Not worth the waggle. There we go. You know how to do it.